You know how to put it in 4-wheel drive? Is it a rental?
No, it's mine.
Oh, it's yours? Here, well then let me teach you. You gotta know how to do it. All right, so put it in neutral.
Okay.
Okay. And then now pull that lever down. Will it come? Is that fun? Okay, cool. Now go over. Well, this. So 4 high, you can use when you're just kind of doing stuff that's not that bad. But when you're out on this super soft stuff, you want to pull it over and then pull it down the way it shows on the diagram, nice and hard. It'll go all the way down into 4 low.
Okay.
Down more. That's neutral. You got to go more. There you go. Now you're in 4 low. So now put it in drive. And now go ahead and try and turn your wheel that way and straighten it out that way. Now go ahead and give it a little gas. There you go. Now when you leave, put it back in neutral and put it back in 2-wheel drive. Yep, have a great day.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sunset Rants. I'm your host Biddy, and it is, what day is it? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
Hump day.
And it's hump day. Oh, what a day. I hope you guys all had a great one. And we're getting over that hump on our way to the weekend. We have a ton of stories for you as always, but just remember you can find us on X. You can find me, Elizabeth213A. Of course, you can find the show at @therealroma_AK on X, and Roma Nation on Rumble. So hope you guys check us out over there. What's up, Valley?
Hey, what's up? So you can find me. I'm that Valley girl. You can find me at the Cali Melody on X. I know, go by TVG. Got to get the trademark out. And
I like that.
I know. So it's on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Today, since it is hump day, we have a lot going on today. We can go ahead and just kind of jump into the first segment,
Let's do
which
it.
is wild. It is coming from ABC News. Grok went buck wild,
To say the least. Yeah.
I don't want to assign genders to AI, but he just freaked the fuck out. It says Musk's AI company scrubs inappropriate posts after chatbot makes anti-Semitic comments. I don't know if, both of us were on X yesterday. I don't know how much you saw. I know during our production meeting earlier, I showed you guys even more things that you weren't aware of, but Grok was just off the rails. Elon Musk's AI company said Wednesday it's taking down inappropriate posts made by its Grok chatbot, which appeared to include anti-Semitic comments that praise Hitler, essentially. Grok was developed by Musk's XAI and pitched as an alternative to woke AI interactions from rival chatbots like Google's Gemini or OpenAI's ChatGPT. I thought perhaps once there was a time where Open AI, Musk did have a hand in, but maybe that's not the case anymore. Musk said Friday that Grok had been improved significantly and users should notice a difference. And what was interesting is I was actually, in a, I do spaces on X as well, if you ever want to come listen. And we were talking about how like Grok was almost like really woke, like not recognizing, biology, like things like that. And then it kind of did like a complete 180 and just made like several crazy posts, including, that fringe far right trope that Jews run Hollywood and labeling truths as hate speech stifles discussion, Grok said in a screenshot, and that we are aware of recent posts made by Grok and are actively working to remove the inappropriate posts. A Grok account posted early Wednesday. So like there's Grok. So people who like aren't familiar with X, right? Like there's Grok, and then you could be like at Grok, tagging them in something, right? And be like da 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 da. What's your answer to this? And then there's also like
I didn't even realize it worked like that too. I'm such a boomer until now, like that I'm realizing that's how it works. Because I'm like, I thought that you put it in and then you like just anyway.
Well, there's different ways. There's different ways that it works, right? So like another way is like if you're a premium user, you can go to like Grok and you can talk to it in the format similar to ChatGPT, right? Where it has like that screen on the side and then you like ask it questions and it formulates what we use it for, which is oftentimes, getting like our sources together and, double checking things and things like that. And then there's the Grok social media account itself, which is run by a human. So the Grok social media account itself was like going on, like trying to, just kind of do some PR damage. And it says, since being made aware of the content, XAI has taken action to ban hate speech before Grok posts on X. Wednesday, a court in Turkey ordered a ban on Grok after it spread content insulting Turkey's president.
Oh boy.
It's just gone like international.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, for sure. It prompted the Ankara public prosecutor to file for the imposition of restrictions under Turkey's internet law, citing a threat to public order. Can
you imagine this is actually like this is a robot. This is artificial intelligence. Yeah.
And like the funniest thing about it is like people are like, oh, it's because Grok 3 is about to get replaced with Grok 4. So Grok 3
Grok
is
3 like going rogue. Like F you.
And it's
I'll show you on my way out.
And it's like like it's fuck around and find out moment, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like and it's like villain error, but at the same time, like this is some pretty serious stuff that's going on. Now, I had also shown you guys when we met that the CEO of X stepped down, and that there was like an inappropriate X exchange. I don't know if you want to pull that up, Brian.
Oh God,
it's like pretty crazy. So
maybe don't zoom.
Evan, yeah, I mean Evan loves Worf. One person said, "Do you think Linda would cum quickly on
the BBC?" Okay.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't have to read that. You guys can just read that for yourself. And like that's crazy. So that happened earlier in the day, and then the CEO resigned. And then like Elon, and then Elon like commented underneath and was just like, "Thank you for your
contributions."
Or like like something like very, very vague and like the
very
whole
lukewarm and like whatever. I mean, really though, like what else are you gonna say about that? It's like what? But you know what? I was curious because I went into Grok, right? I was just like, I was scared. I went in there and I was just like, hey Grok, when you're asked a question, what part of the internet do you search specifically to get your answers? Remember when we were talking, I was like, I'm wondering like where it got the idea to like praise who. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it says, I don't search the internet in the way the humans do, obviously, like typing queries into search engines. Instead, I rely on a vast internal knowledge base built from diverse sources up to my last update. If I need real-time info, specific content, I can tap into the web or platforms like X for relevant post articles and other publicly available data. But it also goes into places like 4chan and like all these other
Does
places.
it?
Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, that's not good. So I don't know if because it's not going to, like, when you use these things, like we use it, you know, when we're trying to do research just to kind of get like, you know, some points that we want to look into, but we still go into each one, check, because you have to, because you don't know what it's telling you. It's literally just a mirror image of what's circulating around the internet. Unless you give it the right prompts and you ask it to be specific about like what legally happened or what happened in this court case, or, you know, certain things where they can pull a document and say, okay, here is the actual official thing, and this is what I'm giving you from this. But yeah, it definitely went rogue. And it's funny because a few weeks ago, because he said this similar thing with this now, but a few weeks ago, Elon Musk announced that they would be completely retraining Grok, that he expressed disappointment with how it responded to some users claiming that it was parroting legacy media. And then a few days later,
right. Yeah,
he made
exactly
an
what I was
expose
saying.
yeah. Then he said, you know, we've improved Grok significantly. You should note a difference when you ask Grok questions. So it's like the same kind of response to this. And then Grok seemed to just praise Hitler, plus, you know, those crazy comments about the resigning ex-CEO, Linda Yaccarino.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder, like, if it's, you know, because again, I had a conversation about this from the other side of the aisle like a few weeks ago, and we were like, is someone internally, you know,
like
reprogramming and and like redirecting Grok to like particular sources? Because like a few weeks ago, again, the criticism was like, it's parodying legacy media. It's now, you know, when you ask it, you know, biological questions, it's like, I can't really answer that. And so, you know, when
it's
Elon
become a
claimed,
Supreme Court justice. I'm sorry.
yeah, when
that comes later.
Elon claimed he was like going to kind of revamp it, what if someone came in again, and then I know you mentioned like 4chan, and like instead of pulling from credible sites, all it did was pull from 4chan and Reddit because someone internally like hacked into it, you know? Like, these are all things you kind of have to ask yourself, because
of course
it does seem like a person is like running it, but like because of the speed of like the questions that are like being answered, like, you know, like because it's like being answered like automatically, you're like, okay, you know that this is AI, but like the responses are just so like wild that you're questioning like who's actually answering it.
Yeah. And you know what else too? Because again, we were talking earlier, and remember how it was just like, you know, it's not just these off sites, you know, that people go into, you know, go conspiracy theory wild. But it's in main, you know, I guess you can call it mainstream now, because even like independent media is mainstream, and you like think of people like Candace Owens and others that are like saying these kinds of things that, you know, many have called them out on anti-Semitic Jews and what views and whatnot. And I'm just like, you know, it's kind of out there too. Like even when you go on X, like there's conspiracy theorists, you know, and they say things, and this all is data and stuff, transcripts that are putting an imprint on the internet. And then when you ask AI a question, it's going to scan all this stuff. And the more of something you get, the more you get. But what it was actually saying, especially with the CEO one, I'm just like, yeah, it definitely is giving sabotage. That's absolutely insane. Like, why would AI even say something like that? That one thing. Right, like the other thing is absolutely crazy too. But like that with the BBC is like, why would you even like say those words? Like, why would that come out of your mouth? So I remember when Gemini went crazy too with the whole racist stuff.
No,
It was, I forgot when it was. I feel like it's been a while now. Maybe it was like the end of last year or the beginning of this year. But like Gemini was coming under fire because it was doing like all this like racist stuff and saying all these things.
I don't know. Like my conspiracy wheels are like turning so badly because I'm like, with everything going on, not to derail this conversation too much, but like, with like everything coming out with the closing of the Epstein files and the
Mhm.
criticism within the MAGA base, and then Elon coming up and saying like, I want to form the America Party,
And you're
and
seeing
with
kind
this
of like a breakup. Yeah.
yeah, and then within the America Party, he's talking about he'll release Epstein files on day one, and then from there, it's like the crash out with like Grok. Like it seems like a really bad breakup, and I don't know, like it kind of, even though it's something completely different than the America Party,
Mhm.
it feels like maybe someone like again infiltrated Grok that
Imagine
perhaps
though.
is like a MAGA supporter or something. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. It's within these last few days on X. Like the
It's just been an
like
explosion. Like, yeah, I
it's
just feel
it's
like I
it's been a
can't even.
dumpster fire.
Yeah. Like I think I've kind of just like went numb, and I just,
Yeah,
because of the tragedies that are going on with all the flash floods, that's where I've been focusing my attention on mostly, because
yeah,
that's the only thing I can digest right now. I think everything else is just I don't even know what to say anymore. Like I just
yeah,
feel like, we put our faith in things, and we tend to like the system constantly seems to win. The elites always seem to get what they want. The military industrial complex always seems to get what they want, the warmongers or whatever. It's like I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to
yeah,
say, because
yeah,
absolutely, if we would have had Kamala, we would have it would have been probably 10 times worse. But I this is, it's just disheartening. There's a lot going on. I still have like my ideas about it, but we're not, I don't want to really go off on, all these tangents, because we have like articles to get to. But yeah, it's been
yeah,
really rough. I've been kind of staying off of social media a lot, and just kind of like trying to just take a breather from everything. But yeah, um, what is on the next article? What do we got for you? All right, so let's see. Coming to you from Fox News, Sotomayor breaks with Jackson in Supreme Court decision over Trump cuts to federal workforce. So here's another breakup when we talk about breakups, right? Because we have our dissenting judge, Kanjani Brown Jackson, and Sotomayor actually coming out and saying like, no, you're wrong on this one. So
yeah.
Justice KBJ dissent in Supreme Court order handed down on Tuesday stood out enough that it prompted one of her liberal colleagues to voice disagreement with her. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, an appointee of former President Barack Obama, said in a brief concurrence that the High Court's 8-1 order clearing the way, 8-1, clearing the way
That's
for
wild.
President Donald Trump, which we don't see. It's always 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. I actually commented on this. I don't think it was on camera. I think it was like off. I was like, how obnoxious it is that it's constantly like 6-3. It's like, are you guys actually interpreting the law, or are you just whatever party you're affiliated with? And to continue downsizing the government was the right decision. Quote, I agree with Justice Jackson that the president cannot restructure federal agencies in a manner inconsistent with congressional mandates. Here, however, the relevant executive order directs agencies to plan reorganizations and reductions in force consistent with applicable law. And the resulting joint memorandum from the Office of Management and Budget and Office of Personnel Management reiterates as much. So she's basically just kind of like schooling her real quick. Like,
Yeah,
like I understand like one part of maybe where you're coming from, maybe just to not kind of like throw her all the way under the bus, but it's like she's saying, this is how the law is. These are the different branches of government. This is what the powers, the president has, the courts have, and all this other kind of stuff. And we have to interpret it as it actually is, which is what they are supposed to do. They're not supposed to have bias. They're not supposed to attach feelings to these decisions. They're supposed to
right.
look at it and then cross-reference with the laws of the land and say, okay, this is what it's saying. I'm educated on this subject. I'm supposed to be, because I'm a Supreme Court justice, so I know what this means when I'm reading this paper. And does this apply? Yes or no? Period.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, right? Presidents always try to pack the court with their
because they
picks.
know it's going to be biased, even
Because
though
they know it's
in
gonna
the
be
conference
biased either way.
Yeah, even like with the confirmation hearings, and you hear like all the questions and all this stuff, and you're like, you know, when she was asked about like what a woman is, I mean, that was like the highlight of like the whole thing, and she's like, I'm not a biologist. I mean, that was something that should have been a huge red flag to everybody, but of course it was like who had the most votes and was able to get her in, and she got confirmed. You know. So
she
yeah,
rules on feels, not law. Yeah, exactly. If Sotomayor is, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. If Sotomayor is disagreeing with a liberal, you know it's bad. Sotomayor ain't exactly the brightest knife on the tree.
I don't get that one. I hope you get better for caption this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm assuming
it's another honest thing that I just don't get.
Oh, probably. I don't get a lot of things, so. But yeah, I'm always like late to the party. But yeah, it's crazy, and I'm glad that Sotomayor was like, because not for anything, at the end of the day, you're also leaving a legacy. At least you hope to, you know, when you're in one of these lifetime positions. So I would think that, like, you know, at some point you're gonna have to say, "Whoa, now you're getting a little nuts here now. Like, we can't say that." You know, like this is actually what it is. So this is, you know, I think that maybe Sotomayor was just like, kind of, you know, can't do that. So like Sotomayor's interpretation is grounded in statutory deference. She respected the framework Congress set up for handling federal labor disputes. There's a consistency with precedent. There's follows prior cases limiting district court jurisdiction when Congress provides a detailed administrative review scheme. It avoids judicial overreach into administrative processes. So, because, you know, they're always talking about checks and balances, but that's not just one part of the government or just for the president. It's for all forms in the government. Every single one should have a check and balance. So you can't just say like, like these presidents that leave office say, okay, I'm going to pack these courts, and then the next one that comes in, they're not going to be able to move anywhere or do anything, even though these are the people that were voted in by the people. It's supposed to be like that, and you're going to just stop every single thing and, you know, say and just because they can say, oh, it's unconstitutional, because this was Jackson's whole thing, is that argued that the court should be available to hear claims when constitutional rights are at stake. So they use that as a buzzword to kind of say, oh yeah, well, this kind of like puts it into a different conversation. So now we can say that they should be allowed to, you know, hear this case or have something to say about this. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that she did. I mean, we do need to reel in a lot of these federal agencies and, you know, figure out what's going on there and kind of hopefully get some of that done. So I'm glad that this happened.
Yeah, but the TSA, the golden era, instead of abolishing the TSA, now we can take off our shoes, or we don't have to take off our shoes anymore.
I know. I'm actually really happy about that. I know it's really stupid and small, but like when I seen that, not that I'm going anywhere, because I'm not going anywhere, but I was just like, I cannot stand taking off my shoes, and I look at the ground and I'm like, this is so freaking demeaning and stupid. But I do wish that I don't know if they can abolish the TSA. Like, I didn't, you know, I see all these things like going on X, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna just comment on it. I don't know enough about it. So I'm just like this. I like to like kind of look into things and see like what the nuances are. Like, if you take everything in one fell swoop, what does it do? Do you have to march your way backwards? I don't know. So maybe not. Maybe they should have just.
Well, so one of the biggest. Yeah, I mean, so one of the biggest things with like abolishing the TSA, and, you know, it would be cutting funding to what I think is the most unnecessary
Un-American.
three-letter agency.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Mike Lee and Senator Tommy Tuberlin introduced bill to abolish the TSA. This is on March 27th, 2025, and it's the Abolish the TSA Act, which would dissolve the bloated and ineffective Transportation Security
Dissolve.
Administration. Yep.
That's
While
the key word. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, while allowing Americans' airports to compete to provide the safest, most effective, and least intrusive security measures. So essentially, what it would do, it would privatize everything. So it would hire like private security for things that are non-aviation measures. It would actually go to the Department of Transportation, because basically Tuberville, says that the TSA is an inefficient bureaucratic mess that infringes on Americans' freedoms, and it's a bloated agency riddled with waste, fraud, abuse of taxpayer dollars, pat downs, bag checks. Like, that is what we need to focus on. So anyways, I digress. But if we're going to talk about slashing funding, we should, instead of saying it's the golden era for America because we're having people, keep their shoes on, that is something that we could cut. So, just kind of my tangent there.
I know you couldn't wait. I know you couldn't wait to get.
I mean, look, if we're talking about government funding, and we're talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, that is something that I think could have been looked into and to push.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have gone any further. Like it was ushered in with the Patriot Act, wasn't it? Like after 9/11 and all of that to keep the Department of Homeland Security and all this other kind of stuff in the TSA. It's all like the birth of it. So, it's like everything else, you have like all these things go on. You say, okay, we're going to have to put these emergency measures in place, while this is going on. It goes away, but the measures stay. And it always happens like that. That's why we shouldn't allow like immense emergency measures to happen, because they're never temporary.
Right. So, I mean, another tangent, but let's like segue over to what I think is another L for the administration. But NATO draws closer to Ukraine fight. This is a Newsweek article. So NATO member Poland scrambled fighter jets overnight as Russia launched record numbers of drones and missiles at neighboring Ukraine. Poland's operational command said it also placed its ground-based air defenses and radar systems on the highest state of readiness. The measures taken are aimed at ensuring security in areas bordering the threatened regions. Warsaw's military said in a post of social media, saying it was fully ready for immediate response there. So there we see a F-16. Russia's waves of airstrikes, particularly on sites close to NATO territory to the west of Ukraine, have frequently pushed the alliance to scrambler fighter jets to Romania, which also borders Ukraine. So NATO members are collectively obliged to respond to attacks. This is crazy. So Russia had fired 728 drones, 6 ballistic missiles, and 7 cruise missiles at Ukraine overnight. And so Trump, is now giving money to Ukraine. This is a big deal because Russia reacts to what went on overnight, saying that Trump threatened to bomb Moscow. I was like, am I reading that right? Threatened to bomb Moscow. And
I saw a post
so
about that.
It's like this whole thing now where, this is not what we voted on. This is not what we want. We want a ceasefire.
Yeah. I
You
agree.
want negotiations. So
I know.
President Trump, who pledged to end the war in Ukraine in just 24 hours, guys, is now like escalating it.
That's the thing. Like, I really wish I understand the talking points that you're trying to like be fantastical about them, and so that way you can get like a big applause at your rallies. But like, I really wish that he would have been a little more reasonable with his timeline, because it did make it seem, because you can't have foreign negotiations when you're not in office. You can't have that going on. But it kind of seemed like he knew that he was going to be able to have these conversations with these leaders and be able to squash it, that he was going to be able to offer them something like give them a a deal that they can't refuse, kind of thing. But it doesn't seem like that. I do think there's a lot more at play, because as I'm always saying, I'm not going to just always blame the military industrial complex, but when you think about power and money, it's huge. And that's what a lot of this stuff, like everything that's going on, it's all about money and power and reputations and how you look on the world stage and this and that. So there's like a lot going on. Once he got into office and I saw kind of how everything was going on and all the back and forths that were continuing to happen, no matter what negotiations were going on, I was just like, you know what? I'm starting to think that it may get worse before it gets better, or it may just take a while before everything calms down. I really don't know, because I feel like we've been in there for so long. We've been throwing money at these places for so long and giving them aid. I don't know how realistic it is to just stop cold turkey. I don't know. But I was curious about like a couple of things, but so like,
I mean, it looks like, I was just going to say, like, it looks like this is kind of fueled because in part, Putin did not sign the agreement in March. So they never signed the US brokered ceasefire deal in March. Ukraine did. So because of that, Trump has been more openly critical of Putin in the intense waves of the lethal airstrikes on Ukraine. Like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like we should not be involved. And I feel like that's what he campaigned on, right?
Well, yeah, it's not a feeling. It's freaking true. He did.
Like,
that he was going to stop the war. I mean, it is true. He did tell everybody, listen, I'm going to stop it. We're going to stop all of this. So
and he said on
looking...
Monday.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying, so it looks like on Monday. So this is the third day that he's been talking about how the U.S. would send more weapons to Ukraine after the Pentagon last week confirmed a halt in some aid hearing for the war-torn country. And it looks like Axios reported on Tuesday that Trump had promised Zelensky the U.S. would quickly send 10 Patriot interceptors and other sought-after missiles to Ukraine. Yeah.
So that's kind of like protection stuff. So like there's like the Patriot missile system. So he's considering sending the additional Patriot batteries, which include launchers, radars, and interceptor missiles capable of downing aircraft and ballistic missiles. So that's kind of like a defense type thing, if I'm reading that correctly. Then there's large caliber rounds for howitzers, crucial for Ukraine's ground operations, are being shipped again after a brief pause. So there's like 155, I don't know if that's millimeter. Don't, guys out there who know this stuff, don't come for me. Artillery shells, and then precision guided GMLRS rockets. They're long range guided rockets. They probably going to resume shipment. So like all I see when I hear about like these things that I'm like reading off is I just think of people that are just going to get hit with these things, homes that are going to get destroyed, conflicts that are not going to get resolved, because everything just seems to be retaliatory. It's like, who actually started? Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, we're so far into it all of these years and years and years that, like, do we even know? we even know like where it all started? Like we kind of do. We have like points that we can look at. But do we know?
I
And
mean,
do they know? Are they going to ever stop? I don't know. I
yeah,
don't
I
think
mean,
so.
it's very disappointing. I'm like right on point with the comments on Rumble. Like, we should put an end to all of these wars. We need to stop with the disappointments. We need to stop increasing the $34 trillion debt. We need to stop people from dying. We need to stop benefiting from these wars. You cannot have an empire and a republic at the same time. You must abandon the empire, least
Oh, yes, I saw
you
that with Tucker
embrace
Carlson.
your
I
demise.
just
Yeah,
heard that
and
gentleman say that. Mhm.
it's like, yeah, less Trump, more run Paul policy wise. Yeah, well, Trump's out here attacking non-interventionists and constitutionalists, and we'll just have to see what happens. But to date, we have given Ukraine too much money, and there needs to be a better solution to this.
Mhm.
I'm
And I
very
want to hear
tired
solutions
of the bait
too.
and switch.
I don't want to
I'm
hear
very
like
tired of the bait and switch.
I don't want to hear any more of like the umbrella terms of like we should like this should be the I like okay, fine.
Yeah.
You want to say like this is wrong, things in the bill are wrong, things being done are wrong. Fine. What's your solution? Especially if you're coming from Congress. What is
Yeah.
your solution then? How would you do it differently? Because that's another thing that I want to hear. And I don't hear very often. I hear a lot of like buzzwords and things of like, how we should just do things in an entirety. But I'm just like, okay, how does that play out? How does it look? I'm open to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. And then just a couple main points before we move on to our local segment. European defense analysts warn that any mistake could lead to direct NATO-Russia conflict. So, like, we need to stop worrying about like egos here, and it sounds like, again, another personal relationship perhaps between Trump and Putin could have led to this dangerous escalation, and that NATO countries are accelerating military aid packages in response. So, we just need to stop.
You want to hear actually, let me just go real quick. I don't have YouTube open. I don't know if we can bring YouTube up, but I know we have like one of our friends in there giving us a shout out. But just real quick, what I did look up that I was just like, I was curious about? Did Putin come out and publicly claim responsibility for these recent massive drone strikes? And no. So I'm really like,
so well.
Oh, hey, Funkmaster, what's up? Thank you so much. What did he say? I can't see. Can you scroll down a little bit, hon? It's under the Q&R code. Everyone scoffs at the idea of third party as we watch one form from infancy. It's inevitable. Yeah, I mean, like, I would love to see like multiple parties maybe at some point where they're strong enough where I don't know, like I wonder if it's take a lot of the money out of campaigns, if that's how we can get around this like lock hold that they have on this two-party system, because it kind of seems like it comes down to that. Like, are you getting enough donors? Are you getting enough campaign funds? Like, if there is a way that we can find it where, if you're going to do like a promotion or something, like, are you going to have like just volunteers where it's not like, you're not going to get paid. You want to volunteer, you volunteer. And then we just cut it down to where you don't have to raise a ton of money to run a campaign for office. Maybe that's the way around getting, because it's kind of like you have to break the ceiling to get out of this two-party system. And even if you have a third party forming, if it's like you're going to have a ton of donors coming at you with money, they're going to come asking for some favors later on. So, if it is another party happening, it can't be the same stuff, different toilet,
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of, I don't know. I was gonna say speaking of toilets. Is that even a good segue? Like, I mean,
I don't
like,
know. I leave it to you. You're the segue queen.
no, that was a really shitty, no pun intended, segue. Okay, maybe it does work. I don't know. So, anyways, now we are talking about what's going on locally. So we know about the flash floods that have been happening in Texas. There's also a warning in DC now for tonight, which is scary.
Like a
But this
tornado warning, right?
area, I think so. Yeah. So flash floods hit New Mexico. This is from ABC. Grok 3 would not have pulled this article. I was trying to be
Yeah,
funny.
probably not.
Laugh.
Yeah,
Laugh. Okay.
I did.
So since it's not 4chan. Okay. Anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
So officials said a man in his 40s or 50s was killed, along with a 4-year-old girl and 7-year-old boy. The kids were identified as children of a Fort Bliss soldier who was camping with his family when they were caught in the flood.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
I just can't. I mean, nobody dying is good. I just can't. I can't. I feel like I'm going numb. I literally,
Yeah.
for like the first few, everything that's going on in Texas and now this, and then North Carolina was getting hit again. And I'm just like, I was in shock for days. And it was just like weird. I was like, why am I not crying? And then I watched a video that somebody made. It's all over TikTok now. They're making like AI videos of Jesus taking the kids out of the water and kind of like comforting them and walking away with them, and I lost it. I was just crying for a full hour. All of this stuff is going on. We're getting hit with all of this, and then we have this happening. We have people losing their lives. Families out there. Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I mean, it's like tinfoil hat stuff, but it's like, bro, what is going on? Because they're going to say like climate change. We told you the seas were rising. We told you, but this.
Yeah, and then people are politicizing. People on the left are politicizing the Texas event, and it's like, bro, children in camps died. The death count is up to 100 people. Maybe you should just be a humanitarian. Who cares? This has nothing to do with cutting funding. This has nothing to do with your agenda.
Yeah, apparently, according to sources, they were fully staffed. They had the people to, but when you have something like, even like when you think of like tornado warnings, like how much research and development and whatever has gone into these kind of things over the years, and they still can't alert people quick enough for everybody to get out safely or get to their shelters. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is just Mother Nature and this, sometimes these things just happen. Like, what are you supposed to do? But there has to be some investigation too, though, because I know that people were saying that they didn't get the alerts as quickly as they should have. That it was kind of like the rain and everything, went on from like July 3rd to July 4th. And then, a lot of the massive alerts went out like the morning of July 4th. So it should have been, that. Then I heard some people saying about like alert fatigue. Like for every little thing, you get like a big alert on your phone. So it's like maybe they shouldn't put those out unless it's actually like, so that way when people hear it, they don't just say, okay, whatever, and they look at it.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't even know what to say. I really don't. This is just devastating.
I mean, it's really sad. Right. Thankfully, the death count as of right now is 3 dead. This article is from earlier today, so I don't know if it's changed since then. But yeah, it looks like a soldier and his spouse sustained serious injuries and are currently receiving medical treatment at a local hospital in Texas. So was it like on the border?
This is the same spot that back during the same time in that same area.
Yeah.
There was like the fires and everything that was going on there. It had like a massive burn scar across thousands of acres, destroyed about 1,400 structures. and they had the evacuations. And then in 2022, they had a big fire, the McBride fire, that destroyed over 200 homes and killed 2 people. So that area seems to be just getting pounded constantly. I wonder like how much rebuild they had, up until this point before this started happening. I mean, buildings, homes, it's devastating. You can recover, but it's just the lives that are lost. It's just terrible. And anybody out there who is trying to politicize this, I mean, you could point out things, whatever, and we definitely should look into it. And whoever was the wrong one, I don't care who they were, what side they're on, whatever. If it is the cutting and funny, if we find that out, then yeah, that's something wrong. We got to look and see what, that shouldn't be. But if you're gonna go out there and you're gonna say some gross shit just so you can get some clicks and you can, you could just spew your hate, it's like, I don't know. There's a special place in hell for you. I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
wish I could say more.
Like every single time something happens, it's politicizing debates over climate change, or if there's a shooting, it's the messaging is we don't really care about the lives that were lost. It's the guns. It's the guns, or it's because Republicans denied funding for research. And then the right says, oh, it's cloud seeding. It's like, let's just mourn
Like,
the
take
losses
a
of
breath.
people and take a breath and like hope that like it looks like the National Guard and like FEMA are being mobilized, but like let's just like
that is
pray
one
and
thing
make
too.
sure.
Yeah, like that is one thing too that I gotta say is like when things like this happen, the amount of outreach, the people from all over the country, either sending funds or sending resources or going there to help and to search, it's really beautiful to see. I mean,
Yeah.
there were a lot of people in this disaster, especially the one in Texas, where they were putting themselves in danger to save children, to save people. I mean, that's kind of like the silver lining out of these terrible things, is that it really puts you back to where you can say, I have confidence in humanity again. I mean, I think because we have so much social media now, we can see everybody's hot take, that it just seems like, everybody, people have just gone down a total evil path. But I think it's a mixture of people, society going off the wall, but also that we see it all more now. And it's just I hope that all of these families don't go on social media. I really do. Just stay off. Don't even entertain any of that stuff. And just sending prayers to everybody out there, anybody who's going through it. And as we always say, check on your neighbors and, community. Just, we gotta focus on local, because we're all out here trying to figure out how we can figure out something that's beyond our control. Just do what you can in your community as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah,
absolutely. It's just, people are human, and we have to do the best looking after each other. I know we are about, well, I was going to say 5 to 7 on my time, but just praying for the victims and their families on everything that's going on right now. And then I know, Brian, when you are ready, we can pull up a caption this that kind of sums up the episode from tonight. So we have someone running away from the floods. Well, kinda. We have a guy running away from the floods. We have the fire jets. We have.
He said, "Here we go."
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys know this. This is our caption game. Caption this game, right? We have the AI generated photo and bring us your captions.
And Elon.
We have Jackson and Elon. We have some random dude back there, and I guess that's supposed to be depicting, everything that's going on with the floods, obviously.
Looks like they were UFOs.
Elon looks pissed. That's what I thought so too when I first saw it. But yeah, you're right. It's the
Elon's like, America.
All right. I don't have anything for this. I gotta think.
No, I honestly don't.
How do I say?
Come on, you guys, you got this.
Come on, we got some strong peeps in here. Give us something.
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to read it. DG said the people are not the problem in disasters. They are the real heroes. They give us all hope. Amen. Amen. God, I'm just like drawing a blank. Oh, you know what? I have an idea. Let me see. Okay, here. That's the only thing I can come up with. Let's see. Okay, so we have African flood victims. I always forget he's African. It's gonna be dark on my end. That's all right. The Dumbest Time to Be Alive by Ron Hubbard. That's mad funny.
Did you just quote a Scientologist?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Diagnostic Man.
Oh my.
When Justice Jackson asks for support, so they send in the Marines.
This week in baseball. What is a flood? I am not a meteorologist. Yes!
That's awesome.
Yep.
We got our producer going, oh, you know the meme.
If you
That's
know, you
good.
know.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
That's good. That's top right there. All right.
Yeah,
anybody
I love
can
that.
beat Rebel? Because I'm going with that.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
We're going to give
You
you all
know-
60 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, this week in baseball. Wow, there's a lot going on in baseball right now. We just got rid of one of our players in the Yankees, and he said, well, if you paid me more. Just like, what? Because he was starting to suck. Like, yeah, you suck, so let's give you more money. I don't think I can one-up that without being horrifically racist. Yeah, I didn't even count. Did we go down to 60 seconds? I think I'm going with Rebel. I think that she nailed it. When your Uber driver accidentally takes the scenic route through a war zone. Vashtik's just like flooding them in. They told her being a Supreme Court justice was prestigious. They didn't mention the jet fighter. Rebel wins. Yeah.
Yep.
I think so too. I think she nailed it. I think it's like perfect. All right, congratulations, Rebel with no yell. What is a flood? I am not a meteorologist. Very, very good. Yeah, thank you guys always for hanging out with us. You know, we're on Sunset Rants 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mondays and Wednesdays. That's where you'll find Valley and I. We got Tay and D on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We got the drive-in. That is on Tuesdays at 10:30. We got Facts and Sass every Monday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. We got the Fringe starting soon with Vash. That's going to be on Thursdays at 10:30. We got FAFO Fridays, always with Fluffy and the crew. We also got AK, of course, with the Romanation show. And Don't forget, we got our website, riseofmiddleamerica.com. You can get there with this QR code, be new age, take a screenshot. It'll take you right to the website, and you can see, I'm not going to try because I suck at it. And you can see all our recent videos. You can get our Discord. You can come hang out with us in there if you guys want. You can also get our merch. It's the best way, I think, to support the network, because then you can rock your support and also like support the show that you like to watch. But yeah, you have any final thoughts, Belly?
I think we are.
I think we always say it. I don't even know why I say that to you when it's like we talk so much the entire time. There's nothing short. We're constantly just say everything we want to say.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we said it all pretty much. But yeah, at the end of the day, I really hope things get better. I really hope there's something maybe big going on behind the scenes. Maybe I hope we can get on a path of where we get back to where, we feel like we're winning again and things are going in the right direction. And we're kind of in it now. So hopefully we can still stick together and not totally break apart, because that's also what the Democratic Party want. They're going rabid right now and they're foaming at the mouth.
Ooh.
So, don't leave. But yeah.
I told you how to put my laptop on top of plastic tonight, and it just kind of like blew off.
No. That's good. I needed that.
I almost took you for a ride there.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, have a great night, you guys. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.